Saro, welcome to the RevAmp podcast show. We are delighted to have you on board here today. And for those people at home who don't already know you, first of all, it's my pleasure to interview you. But more importantly, perhaps you can introduce yourself, your role, and a little bit about your company, Blueshift.
Hi, Gideon. Pleasure to be on your show here. Saro Zargarian. I'm a senior director of go-to-market ops at Blueshift. We are a SmartHub CDP platform. What does that mean? We're in the marketing automation space. Typical type of use case you'll have is customers who are looking to maximize their outreach, whether it's email, push, segmentation through various channels in outreach to their customer base. And it's a B2C model, and they're looking to optimize their efforts. A lot of it is around revenue, right? And what we do is we help make sense of that data, bringing in from various sources, scale their outreach, and provide them a platform where they can have great visibility and insights to make better decisions, have recommendations. There's a AI layer to it. In a sense, we empower our customers to have a better marketing performance.
That's awesome. And I understand your team and your sales org has been growing over time. And hence the conversation today, which is out of that growth and that maturity, there's been a lot of positive learning that we can reflect on together. And I think more specifically, it's really the area of sales culture, both building, creating, and maturing the right sales culture that supports the revenue operations, I guess, go-to-market strategy and KPIs, and ultimately it's more than that. I think it's better if you probably frame it in your own words rather than mine, but why was it so important for you to affect the sales culture in your role from kind of leadership top down? What was the key challenge or critical challenge that you faced that made you prioritize that?
Great question. For us, as we've been growing from a sales team, literally the headcount. We're trying to achieve certain targets, obviously revenue targets, and helping to scale the team and the company's footprint, globally. And from a RevOps perspective, sales ops, RevOps, we are right in the middle of it, of everything. Anything that touches a customer, we see it. And from our perspective, from process to tooling to being that liaison between marketing, finance, sales engineers, we are in a position to truly not just communicate and let people know how things are going, but drive for change. Because we are in that position to have multiple relationships with different leadership roles. And for us, it gives us the great opportunity to really help bring focus to those objectives. We're not going to solve all the problems, but you're being a leader in driving for change. It's that change management, and helping to establish a healthy culture. Again, it's not all on your own shoulders, but because we're involved in working with different teams, we have a big impact on establishing good culture, the right mindset of taking on those challenges.
Who are the key stakeholders that you think share or partner in outside of the RevOps team, who partner in creating that sales culture with you? Is that the VP of sales? Is that kind of HR and kind of employee experience? Better I don't guess, better you tell me who you see as the key strategic partners in shaping that.
I would say, sales leaders, definitely. Marketing leaders, specifically around product marketing, as well as, leaders in finance, because they're the ones that are going to help you, for example, with comp plans, getting the right tools for automating the compensation reports. Those three pillars really help drive the flexibility between the orgs of how well they're going to work together. But also you're bringing in their knowledge, their expertise, and their inputs to have them aligned towards those goals. a lot of times we find that everyone is saying pretty much the same thing, but in their own language, in a sales language versus a marketing language versus a finance language. And where RevOps comes in is we help, cancel a lot of the noise, but also in a way translate what each person's trying to say, and also deliver the clear message to the other side of, okay, here's what they're trying to accomplish, here's where the mutual interest lies, here's where they can help you, and here's how you can help them. And it's a dance in a way, but you definitely need those three components of driving that change.
So I'm going to ask you maybe a challenging question here is, I could switch out the job function of RevOps and I could place in this change management hole, I could put in maybe digital transformation or maybe even project management. There might be other functions that could facilitate that change management. What is it that makes it uniquely, what is the unique contribution that RevOps makes? Because I don't think it's just about people or even communication, because those are skills that might exist outside of RevOps, but there must be something that RevOps uniquely has that makes them a key player in this change management process. In a nutshell, what would that be, in your opinion?
We are the Swiss Army knife of the company when it comes to go-to-market, right? We can take it very high level of understanding goals, objectives of our go-to-market strategy, tactics, methods, hiring, scaling, all the way down into the weeds, down to the floor of, in the data, from engagement, marketing to prospects, from engagement of our sales to their leads, to their prospects. And even on the customer success side with our existing customers, we see everything. The understanding the data, knowing how information from the outside comes into our organization, how it's relayed across various teams, and it's sent back out to the customer, puts us in a position to understand the entire business model from touching prospect until they become a customer, from understanding the revenue impact to even the expenses of it. The whole business strategy, philosophy, model, we see it, and we naturally end up understanding it the best from a collective level than anyone else in the company.
So that's a good answer. It's a great answer. And then I have another question that comes from that, which is, when there's a dotted line straight to revenue, it's really, I think it's fair or easy to align people around a common goal. That makes sense. Are there any key change management or sales culture building characteristics which have a soft KPI or a non-direct benefit? So you know that it needs to happen, but there is no direct dotted line to revenue. Are there any instances where that's a key part of the puzzle and something you can put your finger on?
Where instances where it's for hiring the right people, meaning, let's say we want to help product marketing deliver the right message or the right training for our sales org with all the work product marketing is doing. It could be market insights to battle cards to positioning.
Yep.
And that's where we look to hire or have a solid sales enablement leader, and building an org around that. That is not exactly revenue number on it, but you're looking to improve the training, the communication, and education to the sales org of improving their competitive readiness, right? To be able to, at the end of the day, go up against competition and win those deals. So those are some key type of impacts sales ops, RevOps can lead to help bridge the gap of being able to execute and win against the competition.
Very good. And then, of course, what happens if you enter a company that's already fairly successful, where change management and sales culture doesn't necessarily in its own right want to be changed? Like, naturally, if you're a salesperson, you're hitting quota or you're successful, perceived as successful, why change a winning formula? How does that work? Have you ever experienced something like that?
Very few occasions, especially in the startup world. Usually those type of successes are short-lived, and then something, you run out of runway. For RevOps, sales ops, you're looking to stay innovative. And you hear this a lot, the moment you stop innovating, it's a slow death for any company. And the Kodak story is an example of what they went through. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we're up to speed of at least knowing what the market is doing, which direction it's heading, from a customer's wants and needs to also the new players or competitors are coming in. And if you're not paying attention and you're, in a sense of that's part of your sales enablement and product marketing relationship of at least educating your team of what's going on. It's not necessarily, oh, here's another slide and put it on your pitch. And when you're going, presenting, it's more about the constant education and investment of awareness. And if you don't, that's the foundation to coming up with the right changes and pivots as the company continues its path. Having a blind eye towards it and just say, hey, we're gonna just do what we do. Everything is going great. Nothing's gonna happen. So what I'm describing here is it's a change that's gonna come. It's a change management that's inevitable. And how do you position yourselves as a company to be informed so that you know when to make that change and what is that change? And that's just a practice that you want to have in any company culture and team, regardless of whether they're doing great and it's working or they're looking to improve.
And the communication of that would be what? Bottom up. You educate from RevOps, you educate top down to the C levels. How do you roll out the communication of all of that?
It is a bottom up with a support and promotion aspect from the top down. Because you want to have that support from the top to emphasize the importance of it and paint a bigger picture of why we're doing this and how does that benefit everyone. And then from the bottom up is the details, the tactics, get into feedback also from the top down of the way we're going to put this into practice and the way we're going to communicate it, the cadence of it, and how do we improve and measure the practice in itself over time. So it makes it more interesting and impactful for the audience.
Understood. Now, as we look back on even just this conversation here today, are there any key questions that I should have asked you or could have asked you where you maybe you had even more experience along this topic and thread of sales culture to share with us, with your fellow sales ops and RevOps professionals? Was there anything that I missed that you think we should have taken a look at?
From a culture, it's important when you're hiring sales leadership. Not necessarily everyone needs to be of the same, cut from the same cloth, but people who are able to align from a process, go-to-market strategy, methodology. So you're having a very high level practice across the org, but also what it does, it enables the sales reps from the SDRs to the account executive to the senior account executive to be able to see a career path for themselves going from one level to another. And having that healthy level of culture at the leadership level and having the type of alignment and having the right hires, I call it, that fit that model that you want to deliver is huge because we want to grow the company, not just revenue wise, but the people and their career paths through those phases from as they're continuing to go from a example of a commercial rep to an enterprise rep, and for them to see a cohesive relationship at the top between the various sales leadership is very, very important. And goes back to it's like when you hire and build a sales org, don't just look for that individual being great at what they do, is how does that fit with the culture and the mindset that you're trying to establish across the entire sales org and not just their team. And of course, you put that together and how they work with, their biggest partners, of course, is marketing.
It's funny, Saro, just to kind of round things off, I remember when we spoke prior, you shared with me one of your kind of personal passions outside of work was that you're an avid gardener, that you take plants at a very kind of young or small level, and you really invest in growing them up. And now I'm hearing you paralleling that in your professional career, and I see a dotted line between the two. Literally, you're looking at that career path journey, that investment in people in the earlier stage and where you can help them get to, and how that's part of the fabric of a healthy culture. I think by and large, I think there's a personality trait there in you that I can see being applied in both your professional life and your personal life in the investment that you make. And I think that that's a really great way to summarize or to round off even the conversation about the need and the investment that needs to be made in a positive sales culture. It literally is, to some degree, that willingness and openness of you to make that investment in people as well as processes for the greater good of all. So kind of I commend you for that. First of all, well done, and secondly, I'd like to thank you for all of your the experiences that you've shared here on the RevAmp podcast show today. I would encourage anybody that's been listening at home to reach out to you through the link below, connect with you on LinkedIn, and if they have any additional questions, to go ahead and connect with you as a fellow RevOps leader and use you as a resource to advance or grow or fill in their gaps. So yeah, once again, thank you from myself and all of the RevAmp team over here. You've been a great guest, and we look forward to your continued growth, and likewise Blueshift and the rest of their journey.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure being on the show.